Let's explore safety questions relevant to the Experior exam. We'll cover general safety principles, facility-specific safety protocols, and the Experior Safety Management System. Understanding these concepts is crucial for the exam and for maintaining a safe work environment. We will begin with general safety questions. The first question is, what are the four main types of personal protective equipment, or PPE? PPE is equipment worn to minimize exposure to hazards that cause serious workplace injuries and illnesses. These injuries and illnesses may result from contact with chemical, radiological, physical, electrical, mechanical, or other workplace hazards. PPE includes items such as gloves, safety glasses and shoes, earplugs or muffs, hard hats, respirators, vests, and full body suits. The four main types of PPE are firstly, eye and face protection, which includes safety glasses, goggles, face shields, and welding helmets. Secondly, head protection, which includes hard hats or helmets designed to protect against impact, penetration, and electrical shock. Thirdly, foot and leg protection, which includes safety shoes, boots with steel toes, and leggings. Fourthly, hand and arm protection, which includes gloves, arm coverings, and gauntlets made of various materials to protect against cuts, burns, chemicals, and electricity. When should you use hearing protection? Hearing protection should be used when noise levels exceed permissible exposure limits or PELs established by regulatory agencies. These limits are typically measured in decibels, denoted as dB. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, sets a PL of 90 dB as an 8-hour time-weighted average. This means that if the average noise exposure over an 8-hour workday is 90 dB or higher, hearing protection is required. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, or NIOSH, recommends a more conservative exposure limit of 85 dB as an 8-hour time-weighted average. Hearing protection should also be used when noise levels are uncomfortable or when speech interference is noticeable. Common examples of situations where hearing protection is necessary include working near heavy machinery, using power tools, operating vehicles, or working in environments with loud music or equipment. Types of hearing protection include earplugs, earmuffs, and canal caps. It is important to select hearing protection that is appropriate for the noise levels and the specific work environment, and to ensure that it is properly fitted and worn correctly. What are the hazards associated with electrical equipment? Electrical equipment poses a variety of hazards that can cause serious injuries or even fatalities. These hazards include electric shock, electrocution, burns, fires, and explosions. Electric shock occurs when a person comes into contact with an energized electrical conductor or equipment. The severity of the shock depends on the voltage, current, duration of contact, and the path of the current through the body. Low voltage shocks may cause muscle contractions and tingling sensations, while high voltage shocks can cause severe burns, cardiac arrest, and death. Electrocution is death caused by electric shock. Burns can result from direct contact with hot electrical components such as overheated wires or equipment. Electrical fires can occur when electrical equipment malfunctions or when flammable materials are ignited by electrical sparks or heat. Explosions can occur when flammable gases or vapors are ignited by electrical sparks or arcs. Other hazards associated with electrical equipment include arc flash, which is a dangerous electrical explosion that releases intense heat and pressure, and arc blast, which is the pressure wave generated by an arc flash. To minimize the risks associated with electrical equipment, it is important to follow safety procedures, use properly grounded equipment, wear appropriate personal protective equipment, and ensure that electrical equipment is properly maintained and inspected. What are the signs and symptoms of heat stress? Heat stress is a condition that occurs when the body is unable to regulate its temperature effectively, leading to a range of symptoms. The signs and symptoms of heat stress can vary depending on the severity of the condition. Early signs and symptoms of heat stress include heat rash, which is skin irritation caused by excessive sweating, heat cramps, which are muscle pains or spasms that occur during or after strenuous activity, and heat edema, which is swelling of the ankles and feet due to fluid retention. More severe signs and symptoms of heat stress include heat exhaustion, which is a condition characterized by heavy sweating, weakness, dizziness, headache, nausea, vomiting, and fainting, and heat stroke, which is a life-threatening condition characterized by a high body temperature, confusion, disorientation, seizures, and loss of consciousness. Other signs and symptoms of heat stress may include rapid heart rate, rapid breathing, flushed skin, and decreased urine output. To prevent heat stress, it is important to stay hydrated, wear lightweight and light-colored clothing, take frequent breaks in cool or shaded areas, and avoid strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. If you experience any signs or symptoms of heat stress, it is important to seek medical attention immediately. What is the difference between a first aid kit and a medical kit? A first aid kit is a collection of basic medical supplies and equipment used to provide initial care for minor injuries and illnesses. A medical kit is a more comprehensive collection of medical supplies and equipment used to provide more advanced medical care for serious injuries and illnesses. A first aid kit typically contains items such as bandages, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers, and gauze pads. It is designed to treat minor cuts, scrapes, burns, and sprains. A medical kit may contain items such as medications, sutures, airway management devices, and diagnostic equipment. It is designed to treat more serious injuries and illnesses such as fractures, dislocations, and respiratory distress. The contents of a first aid kit are typically determined by the needs of the people who will be using it. For example, a first aid kit for a construction site may contain items such as eye wash and burn cream, while a first aid kit for a school may contain items such as allergy medication and asthma inhalers. The contents of a medical kit are typically determined by the level of medical training of the person who will be using it. For example, a medical kit for a physician may contain items such as prescription medications and surgical instruments, while a medical kit for an emergency medical technician may contain items such as oxygen and defibrillators. Now we will move on to facility-specific questions. Where are the emergency exits located in the facility? The location of emergency exits in a facility is a critical piece of safety information that all occupants should be aware of. Emergency exits are designated routes that allow individuals to safely evacuate the building in the event of a fire, natural disaster, or other emergency. Emergency exits are typically located in hallways, stairwells, and other areas that provide a direct path to the outside. They are often marked with illuminated signs and directional arrows to guide people to safety. It is important to familiarize yourself with the location of emergency exits in your facility and to practice evacuation routes regularly. This will help you to respond quickly and effectively in the event of an emergency. In addition to knowing the location of emergency exits, it is also important to understand the evacuation procedures for your facility. This includes knowing the location of fire alarms, the designated meeting point outside the building, and the procedures for assisting people with disabilities. What is the evacuation procedure in case of a fire? The evacuation procedure in case of a fire is a set of steps that individuals should follow to safely evacuate a building in the event of a fire. The specific steps of the evacuation procedure may vary depending on the facility, but some general guidelines include: firstly, activate the fire alarm. If you discover a fire, immediately activate the fire alarm to alert other occupants of the building. Secondly, evacuate the building. Once the fire alarm has been activated, evacuate the building as quickly and safely as possible. Follow the designated evacuation routes and do not use elevators. Thirdly, assist others. If you encounter someone who needs assistance, such as a person with a disability, offer your help. Fourthly, proceed to the designated meeting point. Once you have evacuated a building, proceed to the designated meeting point outside the building. This will allow emergency personnel to account for all occupants of the building. Fifthly, do not re-enter the building. Do not re-enter the building until you have been given permission to do so by emergency personnel. It is important to practice the evacuation procedure regularly so that you are familiar with the steps and can respond quickly and effectively in the event of a fire. How do you report a safety hazard or incident? Reporting a safety hazard or incident is an important step in preventing future accidents and injuries. The specific procedures for reporting a safety hazard or incident may vary depending on the facility, but some general guidelines include: firstly, identify the hazard or incident. Clearly identify the specific safety hazard or incident that you are reporting. This may include describing the location of the hazard, the nature of the hazard, and any potential consequences. Secondly, report the hazard or incident to the appropriate person. Report the hazard or incident to your supervisor, safety manager, or other designated person in your facility. Thirdly, provide detailed information. Provide as much detail as possible about the hazard or incident, including the date, time, location, and any contributing factors. Fourthly, follow up. Follow up with the person you reported the hazard or incident to ensure that it is being addressed. It is important to report all safety hazards and incidents, no matter how minor they may seem. This will help to create a safer work environment for everyone. What are the chemical hazards present in the facility, and what are the control measures? Chemical hazards are substances that can cause harm to human health or the environment. They can be present in many different types of facilities, including manufacturing plants, laboratories, and construction sites. The specific chemical hazards present in a facility will depend on the types of materials that are used and the processes that are performed. Common chemical hazards include flammable liquids, corrosive materials, toxic substances, and reactive chemicals. Flammable liquids can ignite easily and cause fires or explosions. Corrosive materials can cause burns or damage to skin, eyes, and other tissues. Toxic substances can cause a variety of health problems, including poisoning, cancer, and birth defects. Reactive chemicals can react violently with other substances, causing explosions or the release of toxic fumes. To protect workers from chemical hazards, it is important to implement control measures. Control measures are steps that are taken to reduce or eliminate the risk of exposure to chemical hazards. Common control measures include engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment. Engineering controls involve modifying the workplace to reduce or eliminate the hazard. This may include installing ventilation systems, isolating hazardous processes, or using safer chemicals. Administrative controls involve changing work practices to reduce the risk of exposure. This may include implementing safe work procedures, providing training to workers, and limiting access to hazardous areas. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, includes items such as gloves, safety glasses, and respirators that are worn by workers to protect themselves from chemical hazards. It is important to select the appropriate PPE for the specific hazards that are present in the workplace and to ensure that workers are properly trained on how to use it. What are the lockout/tagout procedures for the equipment you will be working on? Lockout/tagout procedures are safety procedures that are used to prevent the accidental startup of equipment that is being serviced or maintained. These procedures are designed to protect workers from injuries that could occur if equipment were to start up unexpectedly. The basic steps of a lockout/tagout procedure include: firstly, identify the energy sources. Identify all of the energy sources that could potentially cause the equipment to start up. These energy sources may include electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, pneumatic, thermal, and other types of energy. Secondly, notify affected employees. Notify all employees who may be affected by the lockout/tagout procedure. This includes employees who operate the equipment, employees who maintain the equipment, and employees who work in the area where the equipment is located. Thirdly, shut down the equipment. Shut down the equipment using the normal operating procedures. Fourthly, isolate the energy sources. Isolate all of the energy sources that could potentially cause the equipment to start up. This may involve disconnecting electrical power, closing valves, or blocking moving parts. Fifthly, apply lockout/tagout devices. Apply lockout/tagout devices to each of the energy isolating devices. Lockout devices are devices that physically prevent the energy isolating device from being operated, such as locks or chains. Tag-out devices are warning tags that are attached to the energy isolating device to indicate that the equipment is being serviced or maintained. Sixthly, verify the isolation. Verify that the equipment is completely isolated from all energy sources. This may involve testing the equipment to make sure that it cannot be started up. Seventhly, perform the work. Perform the servicing or maintenance work on the equipment. Eighthly, remove the lockout/tagout devices. Once the work is completed, remove the lockout/tagout devices. Ninthly, notify affected employees. Notify all employees who were affected by the lockout/tagout procedure that the equipment is ready to be returned to service. Tenthly, restart the equipment. Restart the equipment using the normal operating procedures. Now we will move on to specific questions related to the Experior exam. What is the Experior Safety Management System, or SMS? The Experior Safety Management System, or SMS, is a comprehensive approach to managing safety in the workplace. It is a systematic process that helps organizations to identify hazards, assess risks, and implement controls to prevent accidents and injuries. The Experior SMS is based on the principles of continuous improvement, which means that it is constantly being evaluated and improved to ensure that it is effective. The Experior SMS typically includes the following elements. Firstly, safety policy, a written statement of the organization's commitment to safety. Secondly, hazard identification and risk assessment, a process for identifying hazards and assessing the risks associated with those hazards. Thirdly, control measures, steps that are taken to reduce or eliminate the risk of accidents and injuries. Fourthly, training, providing employees with the knowledge and skills they need to work safely. Fifthly, communication, communicating safety information to employees, contractors, and visitors. Sixthly, monitoring and evaluation, regularly monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of the SMS. Seventhly, incident investigation, investigating accidents and incidents to identify the root causes and prevent recurrence. Eighthly, management review, regularly reviewing the SMS to ensure that it is effective. What are the key elements of the SMS? The key elements of a safety management system, or SMS, are the essential components that work together to create a comprehensive and effective safety program. These elements typically include, firstly, management commitment, a clear demonstration of management's commitment to safety, including providing resources, setting goals, and holding employees accountable. Secondly, hazard identification and risk assessment, a systematic process for identifying potential hazards in the workplace and assessing the risks associated with those hazards. Thirdly, safety policies and procedures, written policies and procedures that outline safe work practices and provide guidance on how to manage risks. Fourthly, training and competency, providing employees with the training and knowledge they need to perform their jobs safely and ensuring that they are competent to do so. Fifthly, communication and consultation, establishing effective communication channels to share safety information with employees and consulting with them on safety matters. Sixthly, emergency preparedness and response, developing and implementing plans to prepare for and respond to emergencies such as fires, chemical spills, or natural disasters. Seventhly, monitoring and measurement, regularly monitoring and measuring safety performance to identify areas for improvement and track progress. Eighthly, incident investigation and analysis, investigating accidents and incidents to identify the root causes and prevent recurrence. Ninthly, management review, periodically reviewing the SMS to ensure that it is effective and making necessary adjustments. How is safety performance measured and monitored in the SMS? Safety performance is measured and monitored in a safety management system, or SMS, to track progress, identify areas for improvement, and ensure that the SMS is effective in preventing accidents and injuries. There are a variety of methods that can be used to measure and monitor safety performance, including, firstly, leading indicators. Leading indicators are proactive measures that can be used to predict future safety performance. Examples of leading indicators include the number of safety training sessions conducted, the number of safety inspections performed, and the number of safety suggestions submitted by employees. Secondly, lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are reactive measures that reflect past safety performance. Examples of lagging indicators include the number of accidents and injuries, the number of lost workdays, and the cost of workers' compensation claims. Thirdly, audits and inspections. Audits and inspections can be used to assess the effectiveness of the SMS and identify areas for improvement. Audits are typically conducted by internal or external auditors, while inspections are typically conducted by safety personnel. Fourthly, employee feedback. Employee feedback can provide valuable insights into the effectiveness of the SMS and identify areas where improvements can be made. Employee feedback can be collected through surveys, interviews, and focus groups. Fifthly, data analysis. Data analysis can be used to identify trends and patterns in safety performance. This information can be used to develop targeted interventions to address specific safety issues. What are the roles and responsibilities of employees and supervisors in promoting safety? In promoting safety, employees and supervisors have distinct yet interconnected roles and responsibilities. Employees are primarily responsible for firstly, following safety policies and procedures. Employees must adhere to all established safety policies, procedures, and rules to minimize risks and prevent accidents. Secondly, identifying and reporting hazards. Employees should be vigilant in identifying potential hazards in the workplace and reporting them to supervisors or safety personnel promptly. Thirdly, participating in safety training. Employees should actively participate in safety training programs to acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to perform their job safely. Fourthly, using personal protective equipment or PPE. Employees should properly use and maintain personal protective equipment or PPE as required for their tasks. Fifthly, preventing unsafe acts and conditions. Employees should refrain from engaging in unsafe behaviors and actively work to correct or report unsafe conditions. Supervisors are responsible for firstly, enforcing safety policies and procedures. Supervisors must ensure that employees adhere to safety policies, procedures, and rules and take corrective action when necessary. Secondly, providing safety training and resources. Supervisors should provide employees with adequate safety training, resources, and equipment to perform their job safely. Thirdly, conducting safety inspections and audits. Supervisors should regularly conduct safety inspections and audits to identify hazards and ensure compliance with safety standards. Fourthly, investigating accidents and incidents. Supervisors should investigate accidents and incidents to determine the root causes and implement corrective actions to prevent recurrence. Fifthly, promoting a safety culture. Supervisors should promote a positive safety culture by leading by example, encouraging open communication, and recognizing employees for their safety efforts. How do you communicate safety concerns to management? Communicating safety concerns to management is crucial for maintaining a safe work environment and preventing accidents and injuries. There are several effective ways to communicate safety concerns to management, including firstly, direct communication. Employees can directly communicate their safety concerns to their supervisors, managers, or safety personnel through verbal discussions, written reports, or email. Secondly, safety meetings. Safety meetings provide a platform for employees to raise safety concerns, share information, and discuss potential solutions with management. Thirdly, safety committees. Safety committees, composed of employees and management representatives, provide a formal channel for addressing safety concerns, developing safety policies, and promoting a safety culture. Fourthly, anonymous reporting systems. Anonymous reporting systems allow employees to report safety concerns without fear of retaliation, fostering a more open and transparent safety culture. Fifthly, hazard reporting systems. Hazard reporting systems provide a structured process for employees to report potential hazards, allowing management to track and address safety concerns in a timely manner.